Hello there everyone, I am Big Bear and welcome to the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe version. Very excited to get into this game. For those of you who don't know, the Stanley Parable was originally released in 2013 by, I believe it was Galactic Cafe. The game has now been, well, I wouldn't say completely reworked. It sounds like there's more endings, more things to experience. I had a bit of a weird one just when I loaded up the game there, because it did ask me to set the time and I accidentally set it to the PM instead of to the correct AM time, as I'm recording this in the morning. And then when I booted the game up again just so that I could set the correct time, it then went through a period of saying, I don't actually have any way of checking if you're setting the right time. You know what? Most people just hit 12 o'clock. You pick the time. Pick your favourite time and just set the clock to that, because I thought it was important to the game's narrative. But it seems like they've already put a good bit of work into this just being a funny and, you know, a really good experience. I think I'm excited to actually play this one. I just cannot wait to hear the silky smooth voice of the narrator. So let's give it a go. Is it going to start the same way with Stanley in his office?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Until...
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Oh my god, nostalgia. This is so fantastic. So when I originally picked up this game, it had already been out for a wee while. And my kids love playing the Stanley Parable as well, because it's a terrific experience. It's really, really good fun. It's really funny. I think already, you know, I don't think they've changed too much. It looks a little bit more polished in terms of graphics.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So far, it's almost exactly the same. Oh. Was there not... Oh. You can't jump. Alright, yeah, I was hitting spacebar because I'm fairly certain we could jump last time. Did we not? What's this? Cinema access. Okay, they've added a few interesting little tidbits here and there. What? That's just me clicking on the mouse. Let's see, where we go in the meeting room, and then it's going to give us decisions at some point as well. Oh, this is so cool. I wonder if they actually took the narration.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, immediately the first biggest decision, because I just want to pee off the narrator immediately. Okay, yeah.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Just to admire the employee lounge. So it seems like this may be the original... Okay, I don't remember that. Yeah, this may just be parts from the original.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Immaculate?
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, without question, this is definitely not immaculate. Is that a spot of blood on the machine? No.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
It's really... who in what office? Oh no, okay, I was about to say that this is really, really manky actually. There's paper all over the goddamn
Stanley's
place.
obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Okay,
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Oh... Okay. Is it because I'm assuming there's different experiences
And so
to be
he
had?
detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I don't know if I want to go down there yet. I'm just going to potentially follow the story to get to where we should have been. And that is the door that we would have come through, yeah. Okay. Because also the game, it's very impressive the way it does it.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Yeah, okay, that's going to be interesting. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Hire someone to synergize the papers. Well, yeah, that's a good idea. Papers are too synergized. Fire the paper guy. Hire somebody to fire the paper synergy guy. Who moved my desk? Please keep the targets on the topic of... Okay, yeah, because the game's really, really good in the sense that you think that the game's just restarted at certain points, and then it allows you to continue the narrative from where you left over. The broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
I'm in the closet too.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Okay, let's move on. Now.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I do want to go and see the boss's office. Because I think that is one of the key... Whoa. What is this? The executive bathroom. Whoa. Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money crisp. Don't know why I sang that. Soap. Okay. Well, there's hee-haw. For the time being. Ooh, where is the secretary? Now this is a nice office.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
That's brilliant. 2845. Boop.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad,
Whoa.
Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, okay. Oh no, so there is only the one way that we can go. Boop! I'm excited because I know that a lot of the initial stuff will just be the original element of the game, and then they'll add into it and...
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
It's because you were a sheep, Stanley. Oh dear lord. There you were a sheep, Stanley. Just pressing buttons on a keyboard.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Now, I can't quite remember what happens here if you go down the escape, but I do want to go into the mind control facility. Camera. Holy moly. Let there be light!
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television
Oh,
screens.
and there should be, yeah.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Because if I remember correctly, if we hadn't have taken the detour through the maintenance area and back onto the right track, I think we would have ended up back up there. So far, it's quite similar. But I always love playing the Stanley Parable, it's brilliant. Oh, cameras.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ooh, ominous. Where freedom meant nothing. Well, am I at 427? I think I am, haven't I? So if we can actually see my off... Is that it there? That looks like it. Yeah. 389, 427. Am I 427? Or 247? I can't remember. Oosh.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Oh.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
Whoa.
And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
We got mind controls, idle awaiting input. This is brilliant. System power. Oh, right, yeah, because you have to make a decision, off or on. Off. I can't see anything.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
I know I didn't dismantle anything, I just pressed the off button.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine.
I've accidentally
unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
That might have been automatic.
Even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
I was going to say, I think that was subconscious on my part, because I've just ended up with what I think was the original sort of main ending, in the sense that you actually managed to escape the
Stanley
facility.
felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
Yeah.
And Stanley was happy.
So there you go. So that is the first section. If I remember correctly, I think there's probably 9 endings, 12 different endings, whatever the case may be. Yeah, beat the game. So there is I think that genuinely was just subconscious on my part. But now we're going to go and start breaking some rules.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Right, because I really want to go straight ahead after I went into that facility.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Not this time.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Nope.
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I'm not going to do that either, because I want to really see what has changed.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Right, now what does it say? Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion, will cause death. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the
I don't think it's a good idea jumping down there. But
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
That's right.
There's
Should I
someone
jump
you've been
down?
neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Should I jump down?
Please,
No.
stop
Ooh.
trying to make every decision by yourself.
Look at that.
I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Her. Okay, I don't remember that bit. Yes, there's a vent down there now as well. That I'm fairly certain that is new. Can I get there though? Because there is a fence. That's interesting. Well, let's
This is
see.
it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Oh. Whoops. Jesus.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
I love the way that it just suddenly transitions to her, and then you almost believe it yourself. She is on the phone. It's her. I'll pick it up. And no mention of a female previously.
Oh, Stanley, is that you?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
Ow.
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
I don't actually want to go in there. I want to get the hell out of here.
Sorry,
Oh,
but you're in my
Jesus.
story now.
This guy's really
This is a
intent on
very
hurting my
sad
feelings.
story about the death of a man named Stanley.
There's a good morning employee for just press K on your keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
SG.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press P to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Press P to spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Press B to prepare dinner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Press L to tell your kids a story.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Press M to tell your wife you love her.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Press Z to go to sleep.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can you just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here,
we're back
he's
in the
electing
office.
to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Press Q to question nothing.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
Okay, that's morbid. Oh. Okay. And off we go again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content, that's brilliant.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Quick, ooh. Now we're talking, now we're starting to cook with gas. It's got, oh, I thought it was going to go to the right there. Hello. Oh, but we can't jump now. This is definitely never experienced this. This is new.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
So am I. But is there... this doesn't look very new.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
I love the fact they're just taking the piss out of themselves. What,
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
I know that something funny is gonna happen.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Yes, please. You're the narrator. You should know. Oh.
All right. All right, let's see. It's... the jump circle?
What? You're kidding. This is the new content. That's it. Okay.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more.
Oh.
Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else.
Oh, this
Let's
looks
see
better.
it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? You've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar.
Amen
And
to
don't get me
that.
started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about.
Yeah.
No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always.
Yes, please.
What do you say, friend?
This is impressive so far. I can see what they've done. Okay, well this is new.
Psst.
Ooh.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
What the heck? This is cool. Oh, why is there a coffee cup and a frickin' screwdriver in the vent? Should be. Whoops. I like the fact they're playing off. Originally, it really did. I did stop myself at one point and think, have I accidentally loaded the Stanley Parable, not the Ultra Deluxe, and that's what I'm playing.
You remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it
Yep.
got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Wow. Oh, check this out. That's
I
brilliant.
call it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
This is truly brilliant. And we're only just getting into it right now. The memory zone.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Waste.
It's a BAFTA, but it's got the Stanley Parable plastered over it. That's the British Academy of Television Arts Award 2. That's the last story. Good times. Let's begin again. 2013. 2013 when the Stanley Parable was released. Zone, sweet zone. Nope. It is very nostalgic, recalling this trip down memory lane. $1. The Stanley Parable demonstration. I remember when the demo originally came out. Or at least I think it was a demo. Oh yeah, that was the one where he, you go down this tunnel and he starts driving himself insane. This is brilliant. Is that a piano? What the?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
That is brilliant. That's honestly how. Oh, do we want to? Oh, I don't know. Okay. Memories on entrance. Okay. And oh, there's the switches as well. Person of the year. Holy moly. This is incredible, seriously.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Debatable. I mean, that's the catch-22, I think. Oh. The serious room. That is a reference to actually when people tried to use cheat codes and it would put you in the room and you would have one opportunity to get out, but if you open the console commands and tried to cheat again, it would put you in there for eternity and you would have to restart the game entirely. Was it your number is 29?
These were simpler times, Stanley.
Ooh.
What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Nostalgia, I would say. Whoa. Talk about new content.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Woo.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humorous dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
This is just like so beyond where I thought it was going to go. When I purchased it, I knew that it was going to obviously be new things. I didn't think they were going to position it like that, because that was just a really, really good... I genuinely, honest to God, hand on heart, thought that I'd installed the Stanley Parable and not the Deluxe version, which is just so impressive. But I did not think... I thought this was just going to be like increased endings and things, not an entire brand new breakdown. Oh.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Flipping it, where are we going then? Whoa.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
This is so good.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to.
The plant's dying.
Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret.
Oh my God. Uh-oh. Am I supposed to just continue hitting the button? There's nothing? Ooh. Okay, I do feel a bit mean now. It got to a stage where I think we were at years, but he just wouldn't stop rambling. Oh, batteries in the detector. Okay.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful...
Okay.
The end is never the end, 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 is never...
Well, for any of you that wanted a skip button, we've got one now. Oh dear lord. I wonder how long it's actually been. Oh, daylight. Can we get out yet? No? Oh, that's so well done. I must say, already, we're only like half an hour in, and I'm definitely going to be playing this again because it's so well done. Very impressive. And I'm excited to know that this is going to be a true homage to the original. What the heck is that now? Oh, come on! Oh, the buttons. Hey, there we go. Oh, for God's sake. Is there any particular direction we should be going in? I suppose it's got to be a big thing for the developers as well, taking on a challenge of putting new content into a game like this, just given how good the original was. Do we know where we're going? I don't know where we're going. I must say, I'm very glad to hear the narrator's back into it. And who knows, they may continue to update it as well. Oh. Are we going back to the office? Okay, you know what? I'm going to leave this episode here. That is really, really good. I'm so happy I picked this up. Originally, you know, it was... I think, God almighty, I think the last time I played it was about 3 years ago, and then the only reason that I knew that this was coming up is because I was looking through Steam for some games, clicking through the queue, and then it just pinged up in my face. So I'm very excited, but I will pick this up again just to continue experiencing what new content is in the Stanley Parable. If you like my content, please hit that like and subscribe button. This is Big Bear signing off, and there will be another video. See ya.